terrible English accents or the
No,
miniature designers.
I just like automatically fall into like New Zealand, Australian. Like I
It
can't
wasn't
do
even
anything
English.
else. I can't. I can't. All I can do is like what's that? You've seen The Crown, right?
Yeah,
You know how they do like the narrations of the uncles' love letters, the
yeah.
Nazi uncles. Like, my dearest darling Peaches, I would write to you from. I am trapped in the countryside with these people. Like, it's like, where is this guy from, dude?
All
Mm-mm.
right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Unsworn Gamer. I'm your host Rob. Welcome to the Warhammer Fest Reveal Stream Review React Day 3. I'm joined by my very good friend and an amazing human being, Mr. Joseph M. Pagano. Hello, Joe. How are you?
I'm excellent, Rob. Excellent. I'm glad to be here.
Super, super happy to see you. I'm wearing a jumper today. Everyone was wondering what I would be rocking. It's not that balmy a weather here. Joe, how is it over in New York, right?
Yeah, it's actually not super nice out today. It's kind of raining, but it's been like in the 60s and 70s. So like I'm already in a tank top and basketball shorts, and I'll be this way until like November.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us. It's very lovely to have you here. Joe's here. Scrivo may also be joining us at some point in the future. We'll just be awaiting his arrival. And yeah, I mean, today's an interesting one, Joe. I'm going to ask you how you felt about the days before, but today is Black Library Review Day. Yesterday they hit 34,000 people on the stream. How do you think they're going to do today numbers wise?
About 34.
But it's not that the books are bad, right? Or do you read any of the Black Library books? Like, where you at?
I've started a bunch of them and I've finished none of them. Um,
Why?
I don't know. Like I'm not like a book snob or anything, but like there's just so much better content, in my opinion, in the genre to be consuming. All right, so if I'm spending time to read or listen to an audiobook, I want to listen to something that's like a little more, I don't know. There's so much going on in all of Warhammer's stuff, right? Like they can't write like a coherent novel to me that encompasses the whole world because there's like 800,000 things going on everywhere at once.
Yeah.
So I'm just like never finding anything that I'm like interested in. Like I listened to like the first 4 hours of that Lady of Sorrows book, and I was like, what am I doing? I just don't care. I just don't care at all. I have like done some Gotrek and Felix stuff, and like but no, nothing grabs me. So I'm just here to be a hater.
Well,
Hating
so
all
hold
day.
on. I think there's a good structural question in that. Twitch chat, don't worry, Chemex, I'm going to say Beast Arises all day. Because that was the Beast Arises was a good series. Thank you for Ready for Disappointment for donating £1.48 to the show. Very much appreciated. Appreciate you for donating the money. Yeah, I was going to say that one of the things that I don't think they do very well is they don't create contained stories. If you ever speak to anyone about Black Library, they normally go, Gaunt's Ghosts! And you're like, what is it you like about that? They're like, it's a self-contained mini-series inside the setting. Because the problem is you can't tell the overarching story of the setting because it's too big, right? I think maybe that's your point. And so they don't do a particularly good job of nailing that down. Like, it's like with Star Wars, right? Like, the setting's huge, and
Yeah,
like
but it's
all of the
just
stories told are terrible. But you can tell, although I like the new one, the cartoon that came out yesterday, but they tell self-contained stories or at least there's a story arc inside of it. Like, so I would like to see them maybe talk about that, because if it's just some front covers for some random books, it's not really going to catch your attention much, right?
Yeah, I feel like they kind of don't like. I don't get invested in any of the characters in any of the Black Library stuff that I've read.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna, people are always like, you should read Eisenhorn, you should this, and like I'm not that interested in 40K as it is. You know what I mean? So I do have some bold predictions for today.
I'd like to hear it. Please give us the bold predictions.
All right. So I think we're gonna have a series of first-person Skaven audio dramas that are solely narrated by Dennis Leary. That's my big one.
Why? Don't tell me why.
I don't know. That's just that's what I'm hoping for. Is that Um, maybe they'll put out some of the books that I want to listen to the audiobook. So I'm hoping for Gloomspite to be released as an audiobook, but only in Pig Latin. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to put it in another language. I think they're gonna pull a big flex, and they're gonna put a book about a Warhammer Quest game, but they're gonna flex on us and never ever release that game at all. So they're gonna like one up Cursed City. They're like, all right, they gave us a little Cursed City. They put a book out about it. Next time they're just gonna put a book out about a game that won't happen.
Yeah. Okay, I'm into that.
Brandon Sanderson's gonna join the writing team so they can finally finish Horus Heresy.
Oh my god, that would be so good because he finishes every good series. Shout out to the Wheel of Time.
Yep. Short story series on what happened to Tomb Kings, but it's only going to come out in stone tablets and written hieroglyphs.
So you'd have to go. I suppose you've never been to the Rosetta Stone here in the UK.
I thought that was a computer program that taught you languages.
It is. The Rosetta Stone's like a real thing. So it was a stone that. Oh, you know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Where is that? What country did the British steal that from?
We stole it from. I think we stole it from the Middle East or Egypt. We stole a lot of stuff from there, though. I don't think we even really knew. Someone just saw a stone with like a bunch of writing on. We're like, "Save it away." What ho, Jeffrey? Put that on the boat.
And the final one would be like a really cool view inside of like how GW is as a company. It's just gonna be a collection of Dear John letters from corporate to the staff that they've laid off or fired over the years. That's like probably the one thing I would definitely buy.
I would buy that. I would buy that. I would like to see from. So I had so some people in the chat are saying, why fill the show with Black Library haters? I don't think that's what either of us are. I'd like to point this out, and John will be on in a moment. None of this is the case. What it is that like the universe of Warhammer, I think, and I've had like a really in-depth conversation about this for several months of my life, about specifically the Age of Sigmar narrative. I think what the Horus Heresy does very well, which I don't think the Age of Sigmar narrative does very well, if we're talking about it as an overall product, not individual pieces of art or work like a book, is the Horus Heresy lets me know I'm buying into the story of this story. Vavar, thanks for subscribing. There was also some other people who subscribed earlier. I just want to thank them as well. Who was it? Let me find them in the chat. Looping, thanks for subscribing. Subscribing? That's it. The point I'm trying to make is that like when I say to someone, hey, you should read the Horus Heresy, like, what's it about? And I'm like, well, you can give them the elevator pitch of what the whole thing is about, and then the detail comes later. What's interesting about the narrative for Age of Sigmar books at the moment, or like with Gotrek and Felix, you're like, it's just Gotrek running around being Gotrek. You're like, cool, I'm in. Yeah, there's a dwarf, and it's the stories of the dwarf. The problem with the Age of Sigmar kind of like whole landscape, and I think to some degree 40k as well, is they're just like, they pick out this part of the universe, which is weird. Like, did you watch the Witcher TV series?
Me? Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I
didn't like it.
You didn't like? Okay, we'll talk about that later. The point the point is like you might have wanted to find out like about all of the wars of Sintra, for instance, following the Queen, and you want that whole series of the story, but they don't just give you that random, like they don't give you like one book on the story of her, then one book on the weird mage guy or whatever. You know, they give you an arcing story through the setting, and I think that's one of the things that the Horus Heresy does so well, and I think the Age of Sigmar narrative doesn't do well, and that's what I'm hoping to see from today, because even as someone who's excited about the lore and the narrative for Age of Sigmar and 40k, I don't know where to start buying books. I just randomly buy them on Audible sometimes. I'm like, yeah, cool, I'll listen to that one because it's by ADB. Cool, I'll listen to that one because it's by Dan Abnett, and I'll listen. But I'm like, and they're good. Again, no criticism, but I don't feel invested. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I've always felt like when it comes to like a lot of GW stuff is like I like the overall story and I think it's cool. It's just sometimes I find getting to where getting from point A to point B, the character interactions, like telling the story of who is the main character in Horus Rising? He was one of the he dies and like no, not Horus, the guy who's like it's like his boy.
Oh,
and then like in the beginning, he's like with Abaddon. He's like this new upstart kid. He's getting like a promotion, and then So anyway, like he was a character you could be invested in, and that's fine. That works. But a lot of the books,
Loken. Yeah,
Loken,
thank you.
a lot of the guys or a lot of the characters in these books, like I struggle to become invested in them because it feels like their interactions are not natural.
Mm.
You know, it's like, so like I had a buddy who used to like roast Black Library stuff all the time, and he would always be like, oh, what do you know, if someone's reading it, he'd be like, and he picked up the data slate. Like, it's just stuff that doesn't like, it feels like filler. And I think that might just be a product of, I saw a tweet recently from a former Black Library author talking about how hard it was to meet deadlines. And maybe they're just, these guys, like people are they're artists. When you write novels, it's an art, right? Being an author is not easy. And they're just being forced to these like, we need 10,000 words from you for the end of the month. So they're filling it in with bullshit instead of giving it like what you really want, was like that heart and soul that should exist in a science fiction or a fantasy novel. And anytime a book just gets to that point for me, like once it's like, I can't slog through it, I'll just be like, this is dumb. Or I'll be like, I don't want to read this anymore. It's not interesting.
But the point is we want great narrative to come out of Black Library, right? I think that's the kind of like the over-under from everyone. Like, is the Black Library stuff, a good example would be, I think time and time ago, about a Winter's SEO review of the Mechanicum Codex 8th edition. It was very funny. He's like, if you want good rules, go and read get the Horus Heresy rules for Mechanicum. They're interesting and fun. If you want good narrative, pick up book 10 of the Horus Heresy, I think, which is Mechanicum, which is one of my favorite books, by the way. I'm a big Mechanicum stan. Yeah, I like the narrative. I think that, you know, some weird techno dudes rubbing machines and thinking that there are like souls inside them and they're part of a god, I think it's rad. Like, it's a nice counter. I was thinking about this today, actually. Nice counterpoint to Battlestar Galactica, where one of the things that most fascinated me when I first started watching the new Battlestar Galactica series, like the one that was several years ago, but the newer one, not the 70s version, was that all of the machines, robots, Cylons, were deeply invested in their religion. I found that juxtaposition between AI and religion to be fascinating, and I find that interesting still in the Mechanicum series. I find these people who know that it's about, you know, numbers and electricity and all this other stuff, but they plug human and organs and they plug brains in and they rub them with oils. Like, it's just wild. And it's so great. I want more of that, but also I struggle to kind of get that out of just these individual pieces, which is why I was in love with the Breester Rises series, and I would like to see an announcement for something like that today. For Age of Sigmar and for 40k. I don't know if you happen to have read them by any way. Joe? No? Like, they were great, because it was like 10 books long. I found out loads about, like, the Assassinorum. I found, it started, by the way. It has started, and Eddie is looking swish. He's got a new jumper and popped up collar. That's a look. Joe, I don't know what you call that look over where you are.
I'm actually, I'm not seeing it yet. Hang on. I'm really prepared. Sorry, guys. I was hoping to lean on Scrivo the whole time, but he's not here. Let me see.
Hey, Ziggy, thank you for subscribing for 11 months. What up? That's great of you.
Let's see.
Wolf Wargaming says that's currently happening for 40k. Yeah, sorry, I meant a good version. I should have said that. Beast Rises was awesome. Yeah, it was. Adam looks like he's been in the sun for a bit. This is not Adam. This is Joe. Oh, no, this Adam Troke.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
We're talking about, he does look a little sunburnt.
He does look a little bit sunburnt. Maybe he's had a day out. It's a work day, though, so I don't know what he's been doing.
Is Eddie Eccles in a Weezer cover band?
He's really into math rock. That's very true. That's very true.
He looks just like Buddy Holly, you know?
He does. He does. Oh my God. I don't know where I was going. I need to ask you a question. And I need to ask the Twitch chat the question. This is really important. Normally, we ask, how many books do we think we're going to see today? And I think that that's fair, right? How many books are we going to see today? Because it's Black Library, that makes sense. So, Joe, what's your number? Twitch chat, what's your number? But I guess, weirdly, how many models are we going to see on the book show? It would be weird to see models on this, but I think we might. So,
but they've done, like, they did that Eisenhorn model, right? Like,
they did.
Like, I'm sure that they're going to have some, like, Black Library exclusive Like eventually, I don't know about today, but like I don't see why they wouldn't do like specific like collector's edition shit like that. So like how about we say instead of how many books or how many non-books, like just even if it's crap, like it's like a token or like a necklace or something, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna say it's gonna be 0 books.
Zero books. Zero books is so bold.
You got 5 40K models and 0 books. Let's go. Like let's do it.
And this is where they announce AOS 3, right in this show.
That's true. That's true. That'd be too good.
This is too good. I think what's interesting is, can we talk about Adam and Eddie putting the shifts in this week? You know, it's a late start, 5:30. Their day would have ended normally. They've got a week of this. That's a lot of effort to go through, ultimately. Absolutely in no way engaging with the chat. I saw a lot of conversation yesterday about they're lacking engagement with the chat, not talking to them. I don't know if anyone's got numbers on how many people are watching. 10,000.
Yep, 10,000.
Bit of a drop-off, eh?
I keep getting nauseous every time I see someone subscribed with their Prime to this. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Jeff.
The chat is total bin fire. Well, thankfully you're all here. Thanks everyone for tuning into the Honest Wargamer reveal show. It's lovely of you being here.
Oh my God. It's John Scrivens.
Oh, John's joined us. For the
I heard
show.
I was going to miss out otherwise, guys.
Hold on, John. Let me get you in the chat, and then you can join us. You're so close. Joe was panicking that he was going to have to carry all Black Library on his shoulders on his own.
I don't even know how to read, you know? Like...
So, John, how you been? And are you excited about today?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to have a third book for my shelf of Black Library books that I haven't read yet.
That is, I think, a lot of the sales there. Hello, everyone, by the way. Thanks for joining us. By the way, if anyone's watching and for some reason haven't subscribed with their free Amazon Prime subscription, you're more than welcome to. We are a small indie company who, the more subscriptions we get, the more John can buy that ginger hair dye he's been using on his lock.
Ginger?
It's a bit reddish. I don't know if you've got a new light in your room or something.
I've
and
got
also,
my main
where's
light
our
on 'cause
books
it's dark.
emote, John?
I didn't stop last night. I'll have you know. I am so rushed off my feet this week. I feel like I'm pulled from pillar to post. So apologies, chat. I didn't get it done because I completely forgot. I've got a note.
You know how offensive that is to Adam and Eddie who are doing the same thing, and we can't even get a special emote for them. That's like,
on, John.
how could you treat the community team like that?
They get paid to do that.
It's true.
Probably a lot more money than Rob earns throughout all of his
dude, we know
amazing amount of hours.
Yeah. There's no way those guys are getting paid overtime right now.
Oh no, there's unlikely. I wonder if they've got like, because they're going to fire through it. They fired through it over the past few weeks, right? The question isn't how many books; it should be how many models. We've asked that question, John. Quickly, how many books? How many models? Joe's actually gone for 0 books and 5 40K models.
I think 3 books and a model relating to a book that we've not read, so we have no empathy or understanding of the character, yet they expect us to buy the model.
Perfect. That's my favorite. They're my favorite. Thanks, Damo, for subscribing. Look at this Imperial Minotaur manual. That is the okay.
Oh, it's Gaunt.
It's Gaunt. Another Gaunt's Ghost book.
Well,
are you not happy about this? This is exciting.
Oh look, it's models.
With models! Joe! Joe, you smashed it!
That's more models than they showed us yesterday.
That's great.
But they're not new. They're just reimagined because they did white metal ones like 20 years ago.
But so far, you are smashing it. How many models is there?
There's a lot. That's a lot of models. Like 10 models. So it's, that's
Major
awesome,
Elim, he looks awesome. Sergeant Scout, he looks great. So are these the characters from Gaunt's Ghosts? Because I've not read it. Okay. Yeah.
They're basically the A team, but like God.
Wow.
5 models, bro. Holy shit.
How did you specifically guess 5 models? You fucking smashed it.
Damn it. That's complete opposite to what I guessed as well. I was like, we won't care about them, but in fact, everyone's just going to be like, cool, I'll buy them. And then each shop will find out they're only going to get one of each.
I like how everyone in the chat was like, why the fuck is Joe here? And then first prediction, absolutely smashed it. Exact number. And there wasn't a book. There was no book.
That's so sick.
Oh.
There you go. People can shut up about their new guard models that they want. They've got plastic guardsmen. There you go. What more do you want?
They look really good, though. Nice paint jobs.
I think they're excellent posing, too. Like,
Yeah, really good.
I'm definitely not a 40K guy, but this would be something that I would get just to paint. It's pretty dope.
How do you guys feel about there's a few classic not on rocks, but these guys are on trees. How do you guys feel about there being like basing material on your models at the moment? Do you think it like adds nice dynamic kind of like shape to it, or like then difficult if you want to rebase it?
I just painted 45 Boingrot Bounders, and I'm so fucking over mushrooms. Like I won't even eat mushrooms anymore. I'm done.
Oh, man.
Fuck it. It's like
on a pizza.
it's like no, but like you know what I mean. Like it forces you into something. You know what I mean? Like
If you've got like a cityscape basing kind of thing, and then you suddenly got a random bit of a tree, you're like, well, this isn't the rest of my army. So I get it. It can be frustrating, but it also helps if you're not much of a basing kind of connoisseur. Perhaps it gives you something to work with.
But these guys, do these guys? So Twitch chat, help me out, and John, maybe help me out. Do these guys are they dropped into loads of hot war zones, or are they in one specific war zone, just like living it out? Are we on like book 7 of like their Vietnam? Like, what's the situation?
I've never read any of the books.
neither have I.
Put it out there. It's one of those things I was like, cool. At some point, I will.
It's okay. It's okay. We're being shot many different war zones, so I guess you could repaint that tree, like in a kind of snowy color, I guess. Because
paint it like it's stone. Make it look like it's a rock. You know,
rock tree. Yeah,
rock tree.
You could do that.
You
Just
could
smash
always
the meta.
Kit Bash's hand to be holding something else as well.
Like a hand grenade.
I love the guy. I love the guy with the dagger. That's a pretty menacing pose, right?
It reminds me of one of the Warcry guys.
Oh yeah.
What Warbound was that? There was a guy that was got like a cloaky thing like that. Is it one of the K-Knight Shadowstalkers? Isn't there a guy a bit like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I feel like they've only got so many poses they can pull off though, right? After a while you kind of have only so many ways you can kind of have a character looking kind of actionful without it being kind of like, I'm just standing here. So it's not an easy challenge, right?
I freaking love... Gaunt is not an inspiring looking character. Can we talk about that? Because that's the fellow with the red hat,
commissar,
right?
Yeah, the commissar.
He just looks like a commissar, bro. Like,
yeah.
What else can you do besides
but he looks like he's from like he looks like an English officer, and that's not a compliment. I want to point that out. Like that's like when you're watching Sharp, you weren't rooting for the English officer who he had to give back talk to. Like it's not, you're not up there.
Yeah.
Like he's, I'm just putting that out
a bit bougie. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Quite bougie is what I'm saying. He's got a very bougie face. Yeah.
Does he ask how British he is? Is that the other thing? Maybe.
How British?
Oh yeah, how British am I? Collaroo says one of Gaunt's defining possessions is his power sword, and he doesn't have one apparently. Mr. Hector, hello everyone. So can we say there are more new miniatures during the Black Library show? Yes, we've got it.
100%. Oh my days, I hate that that's true.
Look at Matt. Matt's intern Matt in the chat. He's like, good thing they brought those trees to that city with them. Hide behind this tree. There's no other trees in this whole sector, sir. Just hide. Just stand near that one.
It's the line behind this tree. Oh shit.
Also, just great sculpts if you want to stick them in your Imperial Guard army, right? Although they look like they're not on 25 mils, I would say they're on 32s.
There'll be like a data sheet that means you take them as a unit, so it will almost not matter, right?
Yeah.
But then you do get that choice. Like commissars, at the moment you've got one sculpt that's a current model, so it's kind of nice to give yourself the other chop. Well, actually, technically there's two. There's the lady from Honor Bound as well, that I think still available because no one bought her because you didn't know who she was. Still don't really. But
I'm looking at the GW chat, and everyone's asking, are they limited?
People are so paranoid about that stuff now.
What that is going to be limited.
People
Good
have even
FOMO.
learned.
Yeah. There we go. Is that a book?
No, remember I
2
said
books.
memorabilia. That's
That's
memorabilia.
memorabilia. Yeah, you also, Joe, you got the inside info on this. How the fuck?
I'm actually a GW plant.
You did really well.
Me and Smorgan's List Labs are GW plants.
Oh, nailed it. So how much do you think that's going to go for?
That's
How
like
do you think-
$200 American dollars.
That's not a cheap
No.
one. And they'll be limited to like 1,000 of them, and they'll sell out at 10 o'clock, and they'll be on eBay 5 minutes later.
To be fair,
And that's
Joe,
not me
that-
being
that-
salty. That's true, right?
To be fair, Joe, that 100% looks like something all those like cosplayers who tried to take over your country would buy. Like they'd love that shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'd love that.
Yeah, if GW said like 10% of the profits went to the re-elect Trump campaign, they'd probably sell out in less than 2 seconds.
It's just so straight.
I can imagine
Joe,
there'll be people at Comic Cons with a Tanith First like iron-on thing stuck onto their little Fleckton German shirt. It will be totally fine.
The Tanith First Scout Recon. Oh, there's a little patch
Yeah, the
Oh,
little
that's
iron-on
awesome.
patch.
with a
Or they
little
can get their mum to stitch it on for them.
with a
Still
very
live at home.
with a very problematic pin that they've got.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
You put it on your commissar hat. Right in the
Are
center.
we the baddies? Are we the baddies? A book!
Oh, a book.
A book! There we go.
Whoa. I
Oh, it's
thought
an
GW was
anthology.
trying not to have problems with having Nazis in their group, and now they have a Shabbat war.
No,
Oy
Sabat.
vey.
Not Shabbat.
It's on
I'm
a
sorry.
sabbatical. This is when he goes on his like gap year because he's gone to uni and he's gone on gap year.
Also, can we talk about, because this is a new thing, edited by Dan Abnett. Yeah? Edited.
He
Yeah.
skimmed over and gone, nah, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
He works on Marvel these days. He's got better things to do.
And also, like Saviour Anarchy says, it's an anthology, so it's all books we've seen before. So it's not even a book, it's an anthology book to go with the models.
Yeah.
That technically counts as a book.
No,
So-
it's a re-release. That's not cool. That's like an omnibus. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
short stories where they've got new writers pitching to them and they went, yeah, we'll take that. And it's just like, it's all their draft attempts kind of collected in one book. So
They just got it all off the 4chan
Yeah.
fanfic.
Okay, so question to the Twitch chat and to both you, Joe and John. If
Mhm.
Dan Abnett had touched a model, if they were like, this is Dan Abnett, a model touched by Dan Abnett, would you pay more money for that?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
I hate to admit, I've been to Comic Cons and he's been there and I've just chatted to him like a person because He's
Even
just
more
a
rare.
person.
What is
Oh.
this?
Yeah, so this is another. This is the same thing, I think, but it's a limited edition version of it. So it's the same thing, but this is the limited edition version.
with 5 coins that are not 40mm rounds, so you can't use them as objective markers.
Or
Perfect.
bases. They got artwork though. I love artwork. That's great. Do you not love the artwork?
Yeah. But would you buy a £100 limited edition book for artwork that you then let the
I don't know,
sun?
it's a
picture?
nice looking book. Like if you've got I'm gonna make my shelves look pretty money. I don't know what sort of money range you need to be in. But like that's an exciting that's that would be something cool. Like maybe you would just put it on the side though, because again the frontage is a bit like worrying. Like if you had a daughter and then she ended up in a sort of relationship where someone maybe would find that front uncomfortable. Maybe that you would hide that.
It's like I put it right next to my leather-bound copies of Rise and Fall of the Third Reich and Mein Kampf. Like, that's what they look like, right? Is that what you're going for? Like,
I'm just saying, right? This is better. This is a better. Like,
it's a
this.
book.
There we go. Urdesh. See at their houses. Gorka Morka, you have got it. So book 2, very Wedgwood pottery. Aladdin Sin. That is exactly what I was saying. Aladdin Sane. Sorry, that's exactly saying. So we're on to book 2. What's this? Who's written it? Matthew Farah. I've not heard of him. Has anyone heard of
it's-
Matthew Farah before?
I don't think so. Urdesh, I think, is a planet. I think I just heard. So it might be that they're looking at kind of touching on a specific war zone and then just kind of drilling down onto some little skirmishes. So it might even be an anthology again.
Do you guys notice that every time they like have artwork of like a space marine with a lightning claw, he's like doing like one of these, like he's gonna punch down on somebody. He's always like
doing like pair.
It's an overhand right, dude. That's like the easiest to block. Everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah, like you would watch some Wolverine for some like you do like the double fist into the chest shot, right?
Like
screaming at them. Yeah.
Hey,
is this a Napoleonics?
I love it. Yes, I 100% want 40k Napoleonics.
Oh no, the series is called the Blue Bloods. It is literally.
The Blue Bloods. There we go. 3 books. That's good because there's a worry that they. It's a what book? It's a cop book.
Yeah. It's the Blue Bloods. That's what they call them, cops.
But why is it a good thing that it's 3 books, Rob? Because we're still waiting for Dark Imperium Volume 3.
Are we?
Yeah, because they're currently rewriting the timeline from the first 2.
No, they're not.
Yeah. They're retconning the time period, so you can't even get the Audible audio book of the first Dark Imperium book at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is by Nick Kine, so this will be like middling and average as a read, which is because I've actually big Salamander fan, read all of his Salamander books. Not getting that time back, I guess. Like that's the thing, right? The IP's phenomenal. That's phenomenal, and you either end up with Suicide Squad or you end up with Logan. Like those are the choices, and I want me some more Suicide Squad. Is what I want. That's what I want out of my books. I'm sick of people making it too serious. They are changing the timeline. Yes, they are changing the timeline. Scrivo, you're absolutely right.
They shrunk it down. It was like 200 years, and they shrunk it down to like 5 now, or something.
Yeah.
I lose track.
Okay. I mean, this looks cool. Is this a new series? Is this a new series like Gaunt's Ghost, but something different?
Well, they seem to have had quite a lot of success doing books centering around guardsmen or specific human characters you can relate on. Oh wow! Oh,
$85 US. $85 US.
Is this like QVC now? And like, there's only 500 in our warehouse.
I like the bookmark, man. I like the bookmark. As someone, I'm going to say something for everyone now, and this is probably where I'm going to lose a lot of the audience. So I'm super sorry about this. I read a book when I'm like, this is where I'm at the book. I turn the corner and I close the book. That's me. That's what I do. What do you do, Joe?
Or anything.
I usually just take a slice of deli ham and I stick it. Sometimes it's cheese, whatever I have at hand. I just slam it in there.
A lettuce.
I use
a new book.
Maelstrom cards.
Book 4. You greasy have books.
I just as I finish the page, I rip it out and I throw it away. I already read it.
I don't need that anymore. That's the fucking. This can get out. No, you definitely don't put it face down on the open page. That's the worst.
I love that. It's the best.
Don't use the dust.
That's the worst.
Kills the binding.
Yeah.
Because then one book can become 2 books.
Yes. So this is book 6 of the Siege of Terror books, right? The Solar War.
Do we know how long it's going to be?
There are 10, aren't there? Sorry. Have they announced that?
So. I know that they're getting to it, aren't they? They're getting to it.
Books for one battle?
But it's huge, man. It's like it's a siege. It's not a battle. It's like the Siege of Troy. It's huge. Like there are loads of like moments like where different parts in the kind of siege where there's like backs and forths and like it's massive. It's a huge, and there's like lots of like that's the crux, right? Like I know we're used to just like them games are thrown in it and they're like, hey, fucking clock's ticking, boys. We've got 1 hour. Let's get this whole story done. Let's fucking go home. Yeah. But at least I like that they're doing this.
I mean, Abercrombie did the Heroes, right? And that's like 1 book, 1 battle, 3 days.
What did you say? Sorry?
Joe Abercrombie did the Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's 1 book. It's 1 battle. It's 3 days of time, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, that was excellent. But, like, 10 books, 1 siege is a lot.
I mean, as fan of the Wheel of Time, like, I don't know if I can ever criticize anyone. I read that whole thing through, and
Yeah, I just started it.
so
And
good.
Amazon's got a show coming out.
I know. Really
It's
hype
done.
about that.
It's done.
It's gonna be really good. How many Horus Heresy books do we end up with? Says Tom Dix. So there's 10 for the Siege of Terror, and then how many? Or someone says 8, so I might be wrong.
60 odd so far, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it was
A
big
lot,
numbers,
man.
wasn't it?
It's a lot.
It's
a
really
lot.
milking this cow, huh? It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, when
funny
Well, if
as
you want,
hell.
you can skip all the Nick Kime ones, like based on my review, if you fancy, real quick. Like that's kind of cut quite a few down, if that helps you out.
Oh, what's this?
This is the Warhammer Crime, the anthology. They love an anthology, but book 5, and that's good because they need to get more books than models, otherwise it's a bit of a
More.
joke. Yeah,
One more.
one more.
Or
It's
it's going to be a game-winning model. You know, they're going to show one more model, and that's it.
it's interesting that they've gone with this aesthetic. Like on the cover, that looks like a crime novel.
It looks super noir. It's like
Yeah,
Chinatown.
It doesn't. I look at that and go, I know what sort of book that's going to be. It's almost like they're trying to market it to non-Warhammer fans as well. Like if that was in a bookshop, someone
It's
might confuse
intentional.
it for. Yeah, it's clever, right? As in they're doing their job.
Well, if you look at the horror stuff that they did as well, so they're called imprints, aren't they? So
Yeah.
like they're intentionally designing front covers because like their Warhammer stuff goes into a Warhammer section in Waterstones, or at least it does in Nottingham one. I think it does in most places. Whereas their crime books and their horror books go into the horror section and also into the crime section. So like if you never are going to go over to like the nerd bit of a bookstore, but you always go over to the crime bit because obviously you're single, you've got dad issues, and you read a lot of crime books. Sorry, that's just
If you're into that, just introduce yourself to Rob. That's his type.
Wow, John. Wow, accurate, but no one needs that. Yeah, throw it at them.
I've got to get my daily like hot take because the YouTube guys seem to love me having these
They
moments.
do, yeah. Those YouTube thugs. But yeah, they are basically, they're not tricking people, they're making it so that like people who wouldn't necessarily migrate to places where they would see this. Also, it means that if you're a YouTuber or like you write like reviews or something on like crime books, they could flog you a copy or they could send you a free copy and like, hey, do you want to review this? And if it's good, like if it stands up to, you know, the test, then they might bring whole new audiences in to the hobby ultimately. So like one of my favorite series of books actually by Peter F. Hamilton is the Starflyer series. If anyone's ever read those, which are really, really good, and they're sci-fi books, but they're like crime sci-fi. Really good, really, really good so far.
Broken City looks like that's going to be another Warhammer crime, right? It's got that vibe too.
It does. Oh,
It is.
it's another one. Another anthology of 2.
Do you think that's a decision they do to, rather than producing one long form novel, it's maybe a little bit easier to get an editor to just contact a load of authors and get them to do something short and snappy?
It's actually so like.
Or is that harder work?
Well, the process, as I may or may not understand it, is that like it's hard, like because they're all of the authors, because they have a bunch of authors. Like if you look at all of their authors there, right, like Chris Wright, all these other people. Sometimes it gives them an opportunity to try a new author out and get one story from them, and also for people who are already working on stuff like Chris Wright, it gives them an opportunity to just get like a quick bit of work out of them. But because they've got a book quota, right? Like the editors and the people who are like commissioning the books, they have a book quota for a number of books that they have to get out. So it's more of a quantity over quality situation. Lord Wynn asked if I've read the Night's Dawn trilogy from Peter F. Hamilton. I have. It's actually my favourite series of books. And if anyone wants a good series of sci-fi books, I would suggest those. Joe, I suggested those to you, maybe. The Night's Dawn trilogy.
I started it, and then I was like... So what happens with me is I drive a lot, so I listen to audiobooks while I drive, and then I ended up on a job where I was carpooling, and I kind of just fell off on it. So I got to get back. Back into it.
Real good. Real good. That's my favourite series of sci-fi books. If anyone's read them, you should. So this next one, another Warhammer 40,000 book. Everyone pointing out that there are 7 Warhammer 40,000 books so far. And that one was by as it was being pointed out with Save Your Anarchy, good old Quillen Drask. Now, I haven't heard of Quillen Drask, and I feel like I would have heard of Quillen Drask ever. I don't know about you. Oh, what's this? Astra Militarum series. Got my attention. Hello. Into this. Steel Tread. So, it's like Fury the film, but a book. That's how you can see how they pitched it. They were like, Fury the film, but make it a book. Got it, boss. No problem.
Yeah.
I want to read that. That's really good.
A
I'm
tank
really.
crew.
Huh? You're not excited about that? Did you like
No.
Fury the film?
It was alright. It felt like there's a 70s film with Kiefer Sutherland. That I
the
preferred.
Oddball, the one with Oddballs in it.
Yeah. What, I can't remember what that one's called, but that's that. If I'm going for a film
Hogan's
about a tank
Heroes.
crew, Hogan's Heroes. It's just that's my jam, and it just feels like
I can't
it's
believe you
been
didn't say
done.
Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's in that.
Yeah, maybe.
What?
They're really going for the God. Everything's God.
A ninth book.
Donald
Everyone in the
Sutherland. There
chat.
we go. Kelly's
everyone's-
Heroes.
Kelly's
That's the one.
Heroes.
Yeah, that's the one.
As close to Kelly's Heroes
Oh,
as you
Heroes,
can get
sorry.
without being sued.
Yeah.
But a book.
Yeah.
It's-
Kelly's Heroes.
I want to be in the pitch meeting for this. Is what I want to be.
Yeah. Kelly's
So
Heroes. Fantastic.
So we're on 9 books, all of them 40k, all of them Imperium. A lot of people in the chat, like when they got to like 4 or 5 books, and they were like, "Look, just more Imperium." I was like, "Yes," but now
But just
it's
about
9.
God. Just God, though. We can only do about God because people
There's
can
only
identify with them.
5 guard books, isn't there?
I think what's great about them being guard books is it's like they were listening to the community when they were asking for new guard models, but they just were like, new guard, you know? They want new guard stuff. Here's a bunch of books.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, maybe
That's
they've got
easier.
loads of new models. Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be like part of the detective agency's new rumor.
There you
Twice
go.
dead
There you go. See, I might pick that up. It's got to be challenged. Who's it done by? Nate Crowley. No idea. Never heard of him. It's got to be hard to write anything Necron from the perspective of a Necron, right? That's got to be tough. So, yeah.
Because the something in the Divine, the book that came out around the time of the launch of their new range, had quite favourable reviews. So I think there is a demand for Necron themed books, but I guess there's only so much you can really do without progressing story or doing another dynasty that no one's ever heard of, type of thing.
So
The Infinite and Divine. Yeah, there we go.
So the thing about Necrons is what I knew of them was from when I was a kid, and they were like kind of like mindless, right? And that's all changed, right?
Yeah, it has. Well, he's brought it back. I mean, they need to add agency. That's what creates good story. Agency and stories are what drive all interactions. One of the things that's obviously super weird is that there's no love in 40k ever. We saw a tank crew. There was at least there was some ladies and some blokes, and it doesn't matter if it was all blokes. In fact, you can still have a love story, but or all ladies. The world's your oyster, ladies and gentlemen. But my point is, they take out one of the driving forces. If you watch Captain Corelli's Mandolin,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
it's a beautiful love story. It's a beautiful love story set in war. But is it a war story or is it a love story? Jury's out. I mean, I cry every time, but I'm not sure which one it is.
Are you pitching Warhammer Romance novels?
I've been pitching it for years. Yeah, and I'm into it.
I mean, you could totally do a Twilight Fled and Isabella style book, right?
So do you go on Reddit for Warhammer?
No,
Please don't.
I avoid. Is it just straight up lit erotica of Manfred?
If you go on / r Warhammer erotica, which is 100%.
Yes.
Did you not know that's a thing?
No, my arm is going to be so tired.
From all the clicking.
Super a thing.
Right?
Super a thing. You guys should check it out if anyone's interested. Is Black Library only covering 40k? Maybe. It's not finished yet. They're only halfway through, so I think they've done it in blocks. 32 minutes. Got time. They've got time to. So 10 books in total. So more books than we thought. so pretty high, but 6 models is already very impressive. More new models seen today than was seen yesterday on the 40k preview, so that's interesting. Have I scoured it for Kragnos Erotica already? No, I didn't know there was any, but they're just saying it's there, so...
That's Rob's evening plans.
I can't believe no one knows that's the thing. To be fair, I only knew it was a thing from last week. Someone messaged me like, "You should find this." I was like, "Oh my god!"
I'm looking at the chat, and it looks like everyone's saying thanks, like they killed it. So it looks like they're wrapping it up with no AOS.
No, they're gonna show something at the end. Like Adam's looking hyped still. Eddie's got like his little like shake, like he knows something's coming. He's got a smirk, Eddie. He's got a tell. Yeah, like he's got a little smirk. So I'm feeling it at the moment. Like, oh no, he's done it. He's done the salute that he does. The salute's the goodbye. No AOS stuff. I guess it's all to do with AOS 3. So there's no tie-in yet.
Because you can't yet, can you? Because if it's Broken Realms is kind of the end of the edition's kind of story, you don't really want to have people putting books in before that, because it almost won't matter, right? Because everyone will be too busy.
I think they're going to show that. So if they show Age of Sigmar 3 on Saturday, they're going to show all of the new books to do with Age of Sigmar 3 on Saturday. There'll be tie-ins. There'll be loads of tie-ins.
Because there'll be at least the one to start it off, like the Dark Imperium or Soul Wars equivalent,
And you know what? This is fuel on the fire that we're going to see Age of Sigmar this week. Yeah, that's it. That's the sign-off. Like, that's the... is there a...
Or is this one more thing?
But it's 40k, huh?
Oh, it's an interview with Dan Abnett and Wade.
Oh, what a hero.
Wade?
No, Dan Abnett.
Wow, what's wrong with Wade?
He's not Dan Abnett. I'm not going to be rude. One guy helped revitalise Guardians of the Galaxy. The other one's Wade Price.
Dan's got... Look at Dan's background, though. He's full on it. He's like, look, here are all my Horus Heresy books. There's my 2 Bandai Space Marines. I'm building some Space Marines at the minute. Like, he's in. Like, that's it. That's his desk. That is the... I like that level of author. Look how messy that is.
Oh, yeah.
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 And then you've got, like... I don't want to say serial killer vibes from Wade's background, but, like, there are...
Serial something. I don't know.
Yeah, serial something. Yeah,
Flasher something.
Well, he does like corn, so cereal and corn. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure this... I'm going to go back and listen to this, because I like Dan, and I'd like to listen to more of it. Yeah. This has to confirm AOS 3 en route. T-Man Cash, I think that's probably... I mean, 9 Imperium books, 1 Xenos book is a bit of a standout there. But I guess, really, this confirms we're going to see Age of Sigmar 3 this week. Do you not think?
And I think so, but also, Rob, you've touched on the Imperium bias. That's actually roughly what the sales kind of split often is between like Space Marine and Imperium to everything else.
Yeah, but John,
so maybe they're just leaning into that, right?
John, if I run a pizza shop, but I also sell curries, but my shop says Rob's Pizza Shop, I'll go in, probably wanting a pizza, and it'll be very rarely someone will be in there and go, "Do you happen to have a curry?" Like, no, and so my curry sales will be lower than advertising consistently for pizza.
Not defending it. It's just more that seems like their weird logic.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's not being disproven. All the little shops only stock kind of half the kits are Space Marines, and they sell lots of Space Marines. That's why.
Yeah, so people are... So, Twitch chat, Joe, John, like, talk to me about your percentage confirmation. Who thinks Age of Sigmar 3 this week, hitting out of the park, 100%, down to 0, no hope, we're going to crush Rob's soul? What we thinking?
69.
John.
Nice.
Joke one, but good. Joe, where you at?
I actually think that we're not going to see AOS 3.
Really?
Yeah. I think we're going to get something completely out of the left field. Right? Because it wouldn't just be mystery, it would say AOS again, in my opinion. So I think it's going to... And like some people are like, it's going to be the old world. I don't think it's going to be the old world either. I think it's going to be something different. It's too soon for the old world. I think it's going to be...
smaller?
Is it a chibi mobile app?
I'm so in if it is. Can it be only about guardsmen though and tanks?
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be a TV show or a movie
Oh,
or something
yeah.
like that. I think that because they did preview some of that stuff, but I think it's going to be something big.
Trailer
That they would
Isaac.
be keeping such a hard lid on it. Maybe they're going to do like a HBO series. Who knows? Like, I hope they don't. Like, I think that style of media direction is sometimes a negative thing because it creates a balloon. So what will happen is like when Magic the Gathering got really popular in like the early 2000s, like everyone's going to go, oh, I'm getting into Warhammer. They're going to buy a ton of shit and no one's going to fucking do a goddamn thing with it. And it's going to create this sales boost that they're never going to be able to match. So they're going to have like this like renaissance, it's going to feel like to them, that Games Workshop stuff is going to become mainstream and it's going to sell. Kids are going to get it for Christmas. They're going to have great numbers. And then all of those people who aren't going to get hooked like we all did.
Yeah.
It's going to cause like a big rise. And then they're going to go, well, this quarter sales are down. The sales aren't down. You guys had a flash in the pan. Like sales are going to go back to what they were. And that's not going to look good for the shareholders. And the company's stock value is going to go down. And then, you know what I mean? It's going to cause a cascading effect. And I think that's what I'm most afraid of. I'm always for getting more people into the hobby, but I understand this hobby is not for everyone.
Yeah. So it needs to be done sustainably, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to see every parent going to the store and buying their kids Space Marines because all that's going to do is have a negative long-term effect. You want the kids that see Space Marines and go, I want that. I want to get into that and have the passion for it and like get into the hobby. But when you're a teenager or 12 or 11 and your parents go, here's a box of models and you go, oh, this is cool. These guys look cool. I open it up. I don't want to build this. Or you build one and then it sits there. But to the company, it looks like they're having a big record drive in sales that are going to go up and it's going to cause like a big inflation. And that's not good. Like that's like a bad idea. So like Games Workshop stuff works right now because it is the even though we're a niche community, they are the biggest fish in our pond, right?
Yeah.
But if we take that fish and you go into the ocean, it ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. Like I would love it if everyone played Warhammer. I mean, I have more people to play with. But like in New York, like the biggest, most populous city in the United States, like there's nowhere to play. Like there's there's two shops in the whole city that I could go play at. One's in Brooklyn. It's far from me. I live in Queens. One's in Manhattan. I'm not going to Manhattan. You know what I mean? Like it's not a sustainable thing in every part of the country in our case. And then on top of that, like I said, you're just going to see like parents going, my kid likes, guns and lasers and aliens because my kid's a 12-year-old and buying them that stuff. And it's,
so you think so you think it would be bad if we see the HBO announcement?
Something like that. I think it would be cool for me. Like I'm probably gonna digest whatever media they send at us. Like I know I make jokes about Black Library books not being good, but I love the story. Mm-hmm. I like to hear it. I'm more of like a let's talk about it. I want to hear my friends explain it, or I want to read like a footnote or a Wikipedia article or something like that. I'm not gonna sit down and like learn about the books because I do think they're hard to read. A lot of them, hard to stay invested in. So but like I said, like if it's like this media that like a major media, right? Because look what happened with Game of Thrones, right? Like any hardcore fantasy reader from the 2000s had read Martin's stuff before, right?
Yeah.
And everyone, it's great. Martin's a great writer. And then like now every person's like, I love dragons. And I'm like, I remember when you guys used to make fun of me for this. Yep. You know what I mean? And like they're like invested in like a different style of the media, And I had my first high school I went to, the guidance counselor. He wasn't the guidance counselor. He was the dean. He was a huge Black Library fan. Huge. Read all the books. Read all Gotrek and Felix. Read all the old 40K novels and stuff. And he didn't play the game, but that was his niche. This is where he sat, right? And but that was it. Like I just don't see. I can see Black Library books pulling people into the game. I could see the game pushing people into Black Library books. I cannot see the instant gratification of a video medium, such as a TV show, pushing people into other areas of the hobby. It doesn't, like people who love Game of Thrones, the show.
Like I think maybe though. Like I think a lot of people picked up the books off the back of Game of Thrones. I think that's our closest analogy, right? Like it's like what did Game of Thrones and like there's a Song of Ice and Fire board game, but Warhammer like like the narrative is incredible, and there are people who are only lore centric, right? That's super important. Like, that's all they do is the lore, and they read it and they consume it. But I think at some point, when you're able to, that's what for me the Horus Heresy game was. I started reading all the books, and I was like, "You telling me I can collect Loken? Are you mad?" I was all about it because he's my boy, right? Like, I wanted to get him, and I think that's what, like, maybe people will start with one, maybe they'll start with them with a few. Who I think it's very interesting. I want to touch on what you just said a minute ago, and what a lot of people in the chat are just talking about, and thank 40k Stat Center for resubscribing. Is that the streaming service might be what we see announced on Saturday? That's a big pitch. That's a big guess that no one's made this week on the show. Is that it might be the streaming service for their content that they'll be announcing. So their streaming platform for their all those people who they took off YouTube and whatever, like, and then all their other stuff. Like, maybe we've heard about them doing something with Amazon or HBO, but like, I think it's Amazon. But maybe they're doing something with Amazon in production to put on their own platform. Who knows? I think that'd be interesting. Although I'm super keen to see them do it like really low quality. Like, I want to see some, like, I either want, like, stupendous Game of Thrones level quality, and I don't mean the end bit, obviously, but, like, you know, that amount of, like, work that they put into it, or I want to see it be, like, really bad. Like laughable. Like, because I'll absorb
Space
it maybe
Marine.
more. Like, yeah, Space Marines, but a rom-com. Like, or like a sitcom level, like Friends, but Space Marines. I'm in.
Like, what were those old sword and sorcery movies, like Deathstalker and, like...
Crawl.
Like, yeah, Crawl. Yeah, like all of those. Like, just like, it's like, I'm a Stormcast. Like, bro, you're wearing plastic. It's obvious. Like, I love it.
That's what I want.
Like it's being done by like a junior high school theater group. Like,
Scragrot sitcom, I'm super in for that, or a Git sitcom. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But like really obvious, like prosthetics. Like it's really quite clear that they're just three blokes pretending to be grots.
yeah, they're all actually.
Oh,
if they just
all the Kroll stands in the chat. Sorry, I love the film. Honest.
Can't believe you threw that out there.
There is one reason I think they might not do iOS 3 as an announcement, though, Rob, is
Yeah.
if they're still all up in the air with like production, distribution internationally, not just in the UK. Are they going to launch a core game and then not be able to give a definitive like time frame of when it's coming out? Because they did hesitate with Ninth Edition, right? That came out later than planned.
Yeah, like I think one of the things that you kind of need to look at. I don't want to touch on this too much because I kind of talked about it quite a bit. Is if you just kind of like look at their business practice over the past like several years, the app would be a good example. What they kind of do is, as a business, is they say, "Hey, we're going to run through that door," and then someone goes, "The door's actually closed. If you give me 5 minutes, we'll open the door." They're like, "I've made the decision. I'm
Yeah. Such a good analogy. Yeah.
We have decided that this is the plan." They're your drunk mate at 3 a.m. who's like, "I'm doing it," and you're like, "No, bro, that is the wrong thing. Don't do that thing, whatever it is." And they're like, "I'm doing it." And so I think that they've kind of committed at this point. I'd say so. I don't think it will stop them, but I'm not sure. It could be. I would watch Always Sunny in Azir all day long. Always Sunny. Frank
Danny
is a
DeVito,
grot.
Sigmar.
Can I give you an egg in these trying end times?
So funny.
That would be really good.
Oh.
Danny DeVito as Gotrek would also be really good. I'm really in for that. See, I don't know, like about you guys, but the order for Age of Sigmar and for 40k, like, do I find it? I quite like the 40k narrative, how it's quite serious, Like, but I don't mind them throwing some humor in it. But with Age of Sigmar stuff, I kind of want it to be more slapstick and fun. Like, I'm not sure where I'm at with that. Like the tone, if that makes sense. But maybe that's just the community around the tone. Like,
It could just be the you could do both, you know? Like you could have your Deadpool and your MCU, right? Like you just don't doing both at the same time. Like I think
Yeah.
like I talk about Joe Abercrombie all the time. He's my favorite author, but like his shit is funny and grim at the same time. Like he does it well, right? Like there's some parts I laugh out loud reading Joe Abercrombie stuff, or maybe I'm just fucked up. Like I'm just a fucked up person. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. He's the bloody nine. He just killed all his friends. Like,
By the way, they're still 100% doing this this interview thing that they're doing. And so, but there is the big. If I'll cut to it so you guys can see. If you look in the top right hand corner, there is that Age of Sigmar logo, the Stormcast hammer, and we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen anything for that yet. And there's
good point.
So like that's kind of my leanings, and so far
And the Underworlds one as well.
Huh?
Like, don't want you to get too excited, but the Skull one's Underworlds as well.
Has anyone seen Wade Price blink yet, or?
I'm gonna watch to see if he blinks.
Oh, does that count?
Did it.
Did that count?
No, he looked down. He looked down. That's different.
He's staring right at
Oh,
the
he
camera.
blinked.
He's
I saw him
looking
blink.
at
I
his
saw
hand.
him blink.
Oh.
He's like
Yeah.
staring at the camera, like.
But the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park that came out in 1993 blink.
Well, maybe he's trapped. Maybe he's trapped.
Whose basement, Rob? Is that what you're trying to suggest? Whose basement? I'm not going to say.
Where is he?
Which community member's basement?
Because that backdrop is very organised.
So
You heard
It's a
us.
green screen. It's a green screen.
2 blinks if you're in danger. 3 blinks if you've got Age of Sigmar to release. Come on. Let's go.
This is so much funnier than it should be.
He's a deep fake AI that only appears on camera, apparently. I mean, some of those books actually look pretty good, I guess. Do you know what? Like, I don't know why on the graphics they didn't do like an elevator pitch along with the book. Like, I know they're talking about it, but you know, like if you were doing like a one-shot graphic, like they did. Oh, and that's the end. Wow. Okay. That's
Tomorrow's boxed games. So what's our
The
prediction
Cursed
for
City
tomorrow?
expansions, right?
Well, so there's big rumors, big efforts and rumors around the Horus Heresy boxed set game, marked armor, box games. That's what everyone's thinking. Like they think there's going to be a plastic Horus Heresy box set, pushing new 9th edition rules on Horus Heresy, which will cause a kerfuffle, I think is the correct word to describe it. But so yeah, that might happen.
But is Horus Heresy considered a boxed game? I
No,
wouldn't
but they
consider it a boxed game. Like a boxed game to me is like Blood Bowl, Necromunda, and Warcry, right?
No, but so what they've normally done in the past is they've just included 2 lots of models and then they've just written some rubbish game around it. Like, and there's like it's a boxed game.
Hmm.
Like it's a boxed game.
Like-
Yeah. Like I mean, actually, even 9th edition was technically a boxed game. It was the rule book, 2 armies, boxed game.
Yeah.
So what they do
It
now,
tend-
they're like, let's go.
It's a confusing one as well, because when they say box games, it could include Warcry, for example, which is actually part of the core range. So it's actually a Games Workshop product, nothing to do with Forge World at all. So it tends to be kind of a very liberally used term for the specialist games, which are mostly done via Forge World, but crosses over at times as well. So it could be anything almost.
Do you think we're going to
Could be
see any?
Space Hulk again?
I'm hoping for Blood Bowl stuff because Blood Bowl models just look sick.
Do you think we're going to see any Middle Earth stuff?
Maybe they've been releasing them pretty steadily, right? The Middle Earth stuff, like
Yeah,
pretty
it's got-
consistently.
It's got quite a living rulebook to it, and they've got that whole kind of we'll release some new models, and here's a new hardcover book to go with it that gives you a little bit of stuff. But I don't think it's desperately needing a box game kind of.
No, it
'cause I
doesn't need
think
an edition or anything.
The Pelennor Fields box set I think is still available, so I don't think that would be one to come through, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I just was like hoping to see maybe like 1 or 2 new sculpts or something.
It's the broad strokes category that we'll probably see a new Necromunda gang book, maybe a Blood Bowl team, and that's the kind of safe stuff we seem to see in each of these
I like
normal
that stuff though.
scheduled
Like,
things.
I just,
No, but
'cause
exactly,
it's
that's
just
cool, right?
support for all those games that people really like, and I'm really into it. Like I also want to see some weird boxed games. I like
Yeah.
everyone's saying like 40k Kaplunk, Yeah, I want to see like you know.
What? 40k
I wanna-
Monopoly.
Yeah. Is there?
Do you have any
There's
copies
40k
of that I
Monopoly
sold, Rob?
already. Yeah, 40k
No.
Monopoly. Yeah, I wanted
No
to be
one,
like
no one bought it.
yeah, no,
I
like
didn't order any, and no one asked for it. So winning.
Age of Sigmar Cards Against Humanity.
Oh my god!
I'm into that.
Exploding
I think-
squigs instead of kittens. There you go.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah,
That game-
that's a pop.
Exploding Kittens is great.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's really good.
A lot
Yeah.
of fun.
But yeah, maybe we'll see Dreadfleet. And there's also a big chance that Epic. We talked about this earlier in the week because they said that it's going to be an epic week, and they're pretty on the nose, right?
Or
Do
they've
you-
been watching a lot of Twisted Dice, and they wanted to call it awesome or epic because that's what they like to say a lot.
Do you think that they are going to release an epic scale 40k game before they release the old world in epic scale?
Yeah, because
Me too.
they've tentatively already released it, right? They've
Yeah.
done
Titanicus.
Titanicus and Aeronautica, so they effectively have kind of like slow boil released Epic. So now you can
Yeah.
put those models into your Epic game, and all they've now got to do is the infantry side of it, and and the tanks, I guess.
And that's 100% what they did 30 years ago. It started off Titanicus, then they did a box set called Space Marine, which just added in the Space Marines, and then eventually made it Epic 40,000. So they're just following the same pattern they did 35 years ago.
Hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
If it's not broke, don't fix
So-
it. Listen. Oh, go on, Joe.
No, if that's true, then we might see Mordheim on Saturday.
Oh, don't toy with me, because that's what Curse City makes me feel. I'm like, cool, but no. If
What-
only I
what-
could have bought a copy.
You want more Mordheim?
I'd love it.
I love
It's-
Mordheim.
It's grim dark fantasy. It's great.
I think
Without
the
Space
Mordheim
Marines.
stands don't want that to happen though, because they don't want it to be changed.
I get that, but why
Yeah.
not just do like something that's a bit more like that, using the Warcry mechanics? Job done. I'm happy.
I'd
Yeah,
like to
some-
see it. Go on, go on, Joe.
No, I was going to say some people are very comfortable with playing the same game over and over for 20 years. I mean, those are those people.
Hi,
Yeah,
Dad.
Yeah, and they should be supported. Yeah, Fletcher Bomb, thanks for resubscribing. I'd say one of the other things that I'd like to see as kind of a last statement is I'd like to see a Destruction pop-up book. Something I was hoping Black Library would show us today, but
Been
still been
pitching
wa-
it for 3 years.
just
Rob,
been
and you
waiting
just
for
keep
one of
laughing
those.
at me.
just imagine how good that would be. Oh, an orc! Like, those guys would love that. What was your favourite
Mushrooms
bit from
growing.
today, Joe? Favourite bit, Twitch chat. What's your favourite bit today, Joe?
My favorite bit, it was the books.
What
No,
was your? Go on.
No, being right.
Being right about the minis.
No models, 5 minis, and it was no books, 5 minis, and there was no books and 6 minis. I was pretty close, bro.
You did really
Price
well.
is Right rules. I won. You know.
The
John, what
wave
about
price
you?
is right. To me, it's probably the fact that there was no books that I felt compelled to read, because I keep buying them and then they just sit on a shelf like my narrative books.
I would say that I got bit into by make Fury, but don't get sued, but make it a book. I'm into that. I think I'd like to know what the Blue Buds is about. I at least want to kind of like pick
Cops.
that up. Cops, yeah, that'd be good. Right, okay, we're gonna go do a raid. Thanks for joining us today. Obviously, be live tomorrow day as well. You can listen to Joe if you want to. Yeah, at the Rage of
please.
Sigmar podcast. Go listen to that whenever it comes out, every 3 to 8 weeks. John will be back at some point in the future. We're live again tomorrow. We're live again tomorrow night for the 40k Spice Center. We'll be live all week. So we're going to go raid someone now. I think he's currently got 3 viewers, so he's going to be over the moon when we jump in. So make the guy feel happy. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. You're all brilliant. Thanks for subscribing. Leave comments on YouTube. Being a podcast bro and being awesome. Any shout outs, Joe? Shout outs before we go real quick? Shout outs?
Shout out to Jacob Berry.
Perfect. And
Always.
John, shout out.
Shout out to Nikos. I hope they redo Mordheim and ruin it for you.